Okay, true story. One young lady was showing me her credit card in class because she was all proud of it. And I said, wow, what's the interest rate on it? I don't know. I got it. And I also got a free t-shirt when I signed up for it. Greetings and welcome to another episode of Is This Going to Be on the Test? My name is Joe Burns and I'm a university professor. And if you watched the previous episode, you know that I'm concerned about your finances. We as university people will go out of our way to saddle you with tens of thousands of dollars of debt, but then we don't go out of our way to tell you how to handle it. So I'd like to take a couple episodes. If you saw it, the previous one to this talked about your paycheck. Today, I want to talk to you about the idea of how you should manage your money, okay? Here's the way I think it should go. And by the way, I can only speak for me. I'm telling you how I did it. You should go out of your way to find other people you trust and maybe even pick up a couple of finance books. And by the way, you can get them in the library, cheap. And find out for yourself how you think it should go. Now, it is my opinion that when you set yourself up, and I'm talking to people who've graduated, when you set yourself up, you should have four things and four things alone. You should have a savings account, a checking account, a debit card, and a credit card. The savings account is where everything comes into. The direct deposit, any reimbursement funds, that should all come in. Most banks will allow you to enter money into your system, your savings account, with no fees whatsoever. Oftentimes the amount of money going out will cost you a little bit of money after a certain number of withdrawals per month. So have the checking account. And furthermore, usually checking accounts allow you to pay all your bills online. What they do is they send an electronic check to whomever you are a creditor for or a debitor for. So you're going to need the checking account. And believe it or not, every now and again you actually have to write a check. And so have a checking account. Have a debit card. The debit card comes right out of your account. Now, what I hear from a lot of people is I will make it so I don't spend more than I have because I will only use my debit card. That's not helping you. You should have a debit card to take money out to create physical cash. That's the reason you should have a debit card. And that's the only reason you should use it. Period. Okay? Why don't I just use my credit card? You could. And the reason I say you could is because if your credit card allows you to stick it into the ATM and take out money without a fee, then you don't need the debit card, okay? But oftentimes credit cards want to charge you a little fee for you to get money. Debit cards usually do not, as long as you're using the bank that you do your banking at, which you should, by the way, and I'll talk about that in a second. Credit card. Your credit card, and by the way, you should have one. Not a Lowe's card, a Home Depot card, and a something or other card, and a Walmart card, and a what have you. No, one credit card. And you should choose it wisely. It should have a low interest rate, and we'll talk about that, a low interest rate, and it should give you something. It should give you points for travel. It should give you cash back. That's the one I use. I use the cards that give me cash back. And in order to be successful with it, I pay everything I can every month on that credit card. But at the end of every month, I pay it to zero. Okay, how am I able to do that? You're going to have to set up a budget. And I know that sounds like your parents, and I know that sounds uncool, but look, you have to, or you're going to get into real trouble. And you need to live by this budget. We talked last time about gross pay and net pay. Net pay is what goes into your savings account, okay? That's the money you can live on each month. What must come out of it? What has to be paid for you to live? Electricity, water, gas, trash collection, the idea of rent, car payment, and probably your student loan payments. What must come out of it each month, okay? Once you have that budget, you should ask yourself, how much of the money that's left over can I use to pay down these debts? Because this is the thing about college that drives me crazy. We'll give you the education. We'll saddle you with tens of thousands of dollars worth of debt. But then when it's over, hey, there's your diploma. You want to come back for a master's? Huh? We don't do best to teach you these things. I should mention this about banks as well. It is my opinion you should get a bank that has a brick and mortar store right there in your town, easy to get to. And I understand this idea of online banking is so cool and I don't have to go to a place and I get a slightly higher interest rate. It's going to happen. Your card's going to get stolen. It's going to get sold on the dark web. Something's going to happen that you're not going to like in your account. It's so much better to give up the 0.1% additional amount and be able to go and sit in a brick and mortar store and look at a person and say, look, this is what happened. And then they can fix it. So do it that way. And by the way, get all your accounts plus your debit and your credit card through the brick and mortar bank. So if there's a problem with the cards or a problem with the accounts, you have a human being you can go speak to. Okay, let's talk about where you should be headed. School's over. You have started life on the downside because you're saddled with debt. And those of you who are like, well, I don't have any student loans, you still have debt. You're still gonna have to have a car, you're gonna have to have all these different things, you still have debt. School's over. You are now saddled with debt. It is my opinion, again, talk to other people, but it is my opinion, your world right now should be doing your best to become debt-free. And I know a lot of you think, well, that's that radio guy, and he has people yell freedom and all that. I don't know. I didn't follow whatever that guy's name thing is. My father has just always owned everything, and I have followed his rules. Become debt-free. Let me explain what you're in for if you don't make this your pitch. The idea of a student loan. Let's say you have $10,000 in student loans at 5%. So often students will simply take a calculator and go 1.05 times 10,000, thinking they'll only have to pay $500. Oh, I can do that. Wrong. Get yourself an amortization table or just look up a student loan debt payment table and you'll put in 10,000 in your percentage rate and it will go. In case you're wondering, a student loan, $10,000 at 5% will cost you $2,728. That's more than 5%. Oh yeah, it's because it's amortized. Is that a word? It's because it's compounded. Okay, let's say it runs up to 7%. That $10,000 will cost you $3,933. And here's the tricky, not nice thing that Sally Mae does. They'll make your loan payments so little that you'll think, I'll just make that payment. I can swing that $120 per month. Here's the thing, kids. That loan payment is so small that you're barely paying any principal. Principal's the amount of money they gave you. If you look, and by the way, if you run that table, the amortization table, the student loan payment, it'll probably show you every payment. How much of that payment is interest and how much of that payment is principal. So take a look. Banks pay themselves first. The vast majority of it will be interest. Very little will be principal paying down your debt. And they create it so low, they create the payment so low that you next to never attack your debt. So you need to yourself attack that debt. Oh, I'll just go bankrupt. You can't discharge student loans through bankruptcy. Basically, you can't discharge it through anything. Okay? Budget. Okay? What needs to be paid? Here's money left over. Can you make double school loan payments? Because anything paid in addition to the loan payment goes directly to the principal. So if you make 2 a month, let's say one on the 1st, one on the 15th, that one on the 15th goes directly to the principal. Pay as much as you can. And I also believe this as well. If you're young and you can continue working, do it. Take a second job. Oh, you wouldn't do that? You bet I would, and I did it. I would finish my radio job, and then I would at night go to this place that you filled boxes, and it got sent off to retailers, like 4 shirts, 3 pants, 2 pairs of socks, and it would be sent off to retailers. They paid me $10 an hour. And I did that and did that and did that until I could pay my car off. So if you can take a second job, take it. And that entire paycheck, use that to continue paying down your debt. The purpose is to get yourself as debt-free as possible. It can take you 5 to 10 years to do it. But then, once it's done, it's out of the way. I know people that are just about my age that are still paying on student loans. Don't do that to yourself. And what's wonderful about it is once you become debt-free of those loans, you can attack your car. You can attack your house if you decide to buy a house with somebody. All that can be done. And you can get to the point where you literally owe only the requirements of life. Electricity, water, garbage, that kind of food, that kind of stuff. It's a nice little life, but it's going to take some cash. It's going to take some planning on your part. It's going to take some budgeting. And that's my opinion. You should go after your student loans first. Get them. Do you have credit card debt? Why do you have credit card debt? You're 20-something years old. But if you have it, go after it. It is also my opinion that in terms of the student loans and the credit card debt, if you can get a loan from a bank that is less interest than your student loans and your credit card debt, take it. And the reason I say take it is because it's far more structured, it's far more attacking of the principal, and it will kill those that don't seem to much care about you. There's also that idea, and you can look this up if you want. Many credit cards will start you at 0% interest for 6 months, and what people do is they move their debt to that credit card for 6 months and they move it off. Okay, look, I'm not a fan of that. And the reason I'm not a fan of that is because if you make one mistake, you miss it one time, the amount of interest they're going to throw at you is in the 24-25% range, meaning a quarter for every dollar you have. And they'll assess it right now. So whatever debt you have, boom, goes up a quarter. Nobody charges 25%. You're a liar. They go as high as 30%. The average credit card interest rate is about 16. Look it up. I'm not kidding you. So that's where you should be doing. You should have those 4 elements: savings account, come up with a checking account, debit card, credit card. And you should be paying them off every month and paying more than you can. And the purpose is to get yourself free of as much debt as humanly possible. What's funny is it really feels good. I know that's dumb, but it's like you have a cause. My wife and I did it. It was wonderful. So that's what I think you should do. Okay? I'm going to come back and talk to you more about finance, and I'm way over time. So that'll do it. I'm Joe Burns, and is this going to be on the test? No, but it should be.